When you mention the AC Cobra, you immediately think of an immortal icon. It has gone down in history as one of the greatest, most legendary open-top sports cars of all time, celebrated around the world to this very day. But this blazing glory unintentionally cast a deep shadow. By 1965, the automotive landscape was shifting. Buyers were craving more spacious, comfortable Grand Tourers, GT. Amidst this evolution, the AC Cobra was beginning to feel out of place. Its core chassis was nearly a decade old, and with the demand for GT cars skyrocketing, the boss of AC knew they had to adapt to survive. Their solution: build an entirely new Grand Tourer to go head-to-head with the Jensen Interceptor and the Italian GT masterpieces from Ferrari and Lamborghini. On paper, moving upmarket seemed like a brilliant strategy. But reality delivered a brutal slap. The creation of this new GT would turn out to be one of the worst decisions AC ever made. Welcome to Maison Cars. Today, let's unveil the mystery of the AC Cobra's forgotten, giant sibling, the AC 428. It's a bitter truth that for most of its life, AC operated on a shoestring budget. Even with the massive racing success of the Shelby Cobras in the mid-1960s, AC's pockets weren't deep enough to heavily fund the R&D of radically new cars. The mid-60s saw a global explosion in the Grand Tourer market. Buyers were lining up around the block for comfortable, performance-oriented coupes. Derek Hurlock, the head of AC at the time, believed they had to act fast to secure a foothold in this hyper-competitive space. The AC Ace design was showing its age, so Hurlock knew the new car needed a complete visual overhaul to generate massive hype. Initially, Hurlock wanted the legendary coach builder Bertone to pen the AC 428, but they turned it down due to other commitments. Undeterred, AC looked to Italy and found Pietro Frua, a renowned designer who had penned several Maseratis. The project to build the AC 428 prototype was commissioned to Frua in May 1965. But strapped for cash, AC had to cut corners. They utilized the core chassis of the Mark III Cobra as the foundation. Why the Mark III? Because it was perfectly optimized to house the massive, heavy big block Ford V8 destined for the AC 428. However, this chassis was cut and stretched by 6 inches. Interestingly, this extra room wasn't for rear seats. The AC 428 strictly remained a pure two-seater, avoiding the typical 2+2 GT layout. That extra 6 inches was simply to make room for the convertible top to fold and stow away. While the lack of rear seats might have disappointed some, for speed purists, it meant significant weight savings and massively improved performance. What's truly insane is that Pietro Frua designed and built the entire AC 428 prototype in a mere 5 months. The car debuted as a roadster, but a fastback hardtop version followed just a year later. Unveiled in 1966, the AC 428 was met with overwhelming public praise. It was the perfect fusion, elegant, quintessential Italian design language, yet possessing just enough muscular toughness to hint at the brutal American powerhouse lurking under the hood. The initial production cars featured the potent 427 cubic-inch Ford Big Block, the exact same engine found in the AC Cobras. Mated to either a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic, this V8 pumped out around 400 horsepower. For its class, the AC 428 was monstrously powerful, especially since its 2-seater configuration made it significantly lighter than its rivals. But then, trouble hit. The 427 engines were incredibly expensive and notoriously difficult to source. After only 6 cars were built, AC was forced to swap it out for a 428 cubic-inch Ford Big Block, choking the power down to around 345 horsepower. Losing 20% of its muscle was far from ideal. But the 428 engines were much cheaper, and AC desperately needed every penny of profit just to stay afloat. Even with the downgraded power, this machine was no joke. It could hit a top speed of 145 mph and sprint from 0 to 60 in a flat 6 seconds. In the corners, the car was comfortable and compliant, yet fiercely grippy. Thanks to 4-wheel disc brakes and an independent rear suspension refined from its Cobra sibling. The interior was beautifully appointed, spacious, and the seats held occupants perfectly. Every major automotive publication agreed the AC 428 was a phenomenally good sports grand tourer. So, why were only 81 of them ever made over a 7-year production run? The demise of the AC 428 didn't come from a single flaw, but a combination of 3 fatal blows. First, a bloodbath of a market. The luxury GT segment was already overcrowded. Buyers had endless options from more established brands in the exact same price bracket. Despite the AC 428 getting major screen time on the TV show The Avengers, AC's marketing was simply too weak to generate the hype needed to outsell the competition. Second, delusional pricing. In the UK at launch, the base Roadster cost around £4,600, while the Fastback pushed £4,900. For less money, you could easily buy an Aston Martin DB6 or a Jensen Interceptor proven, best-selling platforms. Worse yet, the price of the AC 428 kept skyrocketing. By 1973, the final models cost over £7,000 in the UK. In the US, it started at an estimated $10,000 and climbed to a staggering $15,000 by the end of its run. And third, a production nightmare. The materials weren't incredibly exotic, so why the astronomical price tag? The answer lies in the insane logistical process. Each chassis was built in England, shipped thousands of miles across Europe to Italy for Frua to build and fit the bodywork. Then the completed shell was loaded back onto a ship and sent all the way back to England for AC to install the drivetrain and interior. This absurd back and forth created a massive bottleneck. Combine that with Frua's less-than-speedy facility, and on a good month AC could only churn out a maximum of 2 cars. The final straw came from an old partner, Ford. In 1973, Ford told AC they would no longer supply engines directly. AC was forced to buy them through a local UK agent at a massive markup. A ruthless deal, especially considering the fame and fortune Ford made off the back of AC with the Shelby Cobras. 1973 marked the final year of the AC 428, triggering a dark era that would ultimately lead to AC's downfall. In total, a mere 81 AC 428s were ever built, 51 hardtop fastbacks and 30 convertibles. Today, it is believed only about 60 of these majestic cars remain in the world. The AC 428 could have saved the company. It had all the makings of a legend, but ultimately fell tragically short of success. However, the story might not be completely over. Just a few weeks ago, AC Cars revealed their modern interpretation of the new AC Cobra. Could we see a successor to the AC 428 step into the light in the future? We can only hope. That is the story of the AC Cobra's long-lost brother, the AC 428. If you enjoyed this cinematic journey, please drop a like and share it with fellow gearheads. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for Maison Cars. And smash the notification bell, so you never miss our next documentary on the world's most fascinating machines. Until next time, enthusiasts.